Welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the Women's Softball World Series game from last night and some predictions, also today's game recap, and now we're going to talk about the Xfinity U.S. Gymnastics Championships. In yesterday's show, I talked about the 5 top finishers in the competition, so if you're interested in hearing about how those athletes did, I recommend you go ahead and check that video out. As a little recap, Simone Biles placed first, no shocker there, she really dominated the competition. And then Sky Blakely was second, Kayla DiCello was third, Sunisa Lee was fourth, and Jordan Childs was fifth. So on Sunday, I went to the competition, and I was able to see everyone compete, and I really recommend that y'all go to a gymnastics meet and a high-level one like this one because it was so amazing to watch. I also posted some YouTube shorts of clips from the event that I took when I was there, so if you're interested in seeing those, you should definitely go check out our YouTube channel, GSMC Sports Network. Okay, so in this segment, I'm going to be talking about the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th place gymnasts, and then I will talk about some other people that were very notable but did not place in the top 10. So let me just explain some background information before we begin. People from the selection committee attend this competition to figure out who they want to invite to the Olympic trials. They have to invite a minimum of 12 people, so this competition is a huge deal. And then also the top 2 gymnasts are already qualified for the trials, and that would be Sky Blakely and Simone Biles. Also for this competition, the women seniors compete 2 times, so they're all-around scores added together to figure out where everyone places, basically. Now, let's get into 6th to 10th place. Starting with 6th place, we have Hezly Rivera. She has not gotten much attention, and I think she impressed a lot of people. She definitely impressed me, I'll say. I thought that Jade Carey or even Leanne Wong would have placed higher than her, but no, Rivera really was stunning in all of her events. She did great both days, and her scores kind of fluctuated in all events both days, so it is difficult to say which event was her strongest in the competition. Her floor was the weakest, but that was because of minor issues like stepping out of bounds. She is longer and very artistic-y. She has like nice long legs, so watching her on the beam doing front aerials is so satisfying and beautiful. She had an overall score of 110.35, which is super close to 5th place, which was Jordan Childs with a score of 110.4. And 7th was Jade Carey. This is literally where I start to cry. I wanted her to place in the top 5 so bad. She is so adorable and amazing. Like, I just want to be her best friend. She did really well, but there were some issues she had in her events on day 2, which I will get into. She had an all-around score of 109.3, so in her beam, she did good on the first day, and then the second day she fell on the beam while landing her straddle jump or middle split leap, whatever you want to call it. She got back up and finished strong, but that fall caused a big deduction where she had a final score on day 2 of 12.3 on the beam, so she had a pretty big deduction there. Her floor routine was great. I loved it, and she executed it flawlessly, and her level of difficulty was right where everyone in the top 5 was, other than Simone Biles, but like, that's like, you can't really like, Simone Biles' level of difficulty is so insanely high that it's like impossible, so that makes sense. Jade Carey's uneven bar routine hurt her significantly though, and that was because of the level of difficulty. Her level of difficulty was just way lower than the top 5 competitors on the bars, which dropped her score on that event. Other than that, she executed her uneven bar routine flawlessly. I think she could have handled a more difficult routine, but it was good to play it safe considering she showed a great finishing at 7th place overall. She's in good status going into the Olympic trials if she is invited, but I really do think she's going to be invited. I am planning on making a video about who I think is going to be invited to the Olympic trials. I'm very confident that Jade Carey will be there, and if she's not, I will be crying for days about it because she better be there. Also, I was about to say something, but I just forgot. Oh my gosh, this is going to make me so mad. I hate when I forget things that I'm going to say. Also, I do have opinions about how gymnastics events are scored because of the level of difficulty and the deductions and all of that, and I do want to address that in a video someday because I have like very strong opinions about it. So stay tuned for hearing about that someday. So now moving on to 8th was Leanne Wong. She really stood out in the vault. Her overall score was 108.65. She had some issues on the beam. She had an off day on the beam on the second day. She fell, which really hurt her score, but she still carried with her vault and floor score. Her uneven bars were really good as well, but her floor routine really stood out to me particularly. She hasn't gotten much attention, and seeing her on the floor was great because you really got to see her personality and her best skills standing out. I will say that it was very obvious that her vault is her strongest event because she looked the most confident at that event, and she had really skilled and really good form in her sprinting that allowed her to get a lot of power on the floor. It was very different how seeing her run compared to other people because she had like some sort of different running technique or something. I don't even know how to explain it, but it made her stand out to me. And I mean, she's so speedy and just got so much power on the floor. So she did amazing on the vault, obviously. And ninth was, and I'm going to butcher this last name, Butcher, oh my gosh, how do you even say that word? Wow, I'm so bad at pronouncing anything. Tiana Sumanasekara. I'm so sorry, guys. Sumanasekara. Okay, yeah, that's right. Sumana Sarekara or something like that. Okay, I was really rooting for her. She is beautiful and a great performer. She has beautiful feet and legs, so she would be a really good dancer if she ever wanted to switch to that. Her all-around score was 108.55. Her vault score was super high, which really helped her. Her uneven bars was her quote-unquote weakest event, and that was mainly because she had a lower level of difficulty than other competitors that placed higher than her. Her floor routine was really awesome because it was very performative. Simone Sekera is from World Champion City, which is where Jordan Childs and Simone Biles are from. So I think their gym really works on the performative aspects on the floor routine or something because they all have those characteristics in their floor routines. I really enjoy watching them because their routines are a lot different than others because of those performative aspects. Like Childs has some sassy kind of like movement she does, like she points to the audience and stuff in her floor routine. Like it's so fun. Simone Biles has a very cool ending pose. I love their floor routines from that gym. In 10th was Jocelyn Robertson, who is also from the World Champion Center. Oh my gosh, she is so powerful. She got an overall score of 108.2, so super close to someone Sekera. Robertson is super short, so she is super muscular and a powerhouse. She reminds me so much of Shawn Johnson. She has an adorable smile when she finishes her routine, and she also is super muscular, just like Johnson. I really enjoyed Robertson's floor routine. She had a lot of nice fluid moments and movements too. I think movements was the better word for that. She had a lot of nice fluid movements, like how she transitioned from standing into her wolf turn. She did a nice little somersault thing into a wolf turn. She had a little intricate details in her routines that made it really interesting to watch and showed off a lot of creativity, artistic skills that she has. For the balance beam, her day 2 score was worse than her day 1 score, and that was because of fumbling issues. She had a pretty solid beam routine on the second day, but she still had a little bit of balancing and fumbling issues. Regardless, her dismount was solid and she seemed pretty confident throughout. I'm really hoping we get to see her at the trials because I think she could bring something different to the team and competition. Okay, so I also wanted to mention 2 other gymnasts that stood out to me while watching the competition that did not place in the top 10. First, I wanted to mention Dulcie Kaler. She is 16 years old and she looks a lot younger than some of the other competitors, especially those in the same gym. She also trains at World Champion Center, so where Biles and Childs place. She ended up in 14th place with an all-around score of 106.15. I think she would be a solid contender at the trials despite being only 16 years old and not placing in the top 10. She just has a fearless attitude and is really graceful on the floor and bars, but her issues lie in her level of difficulty. She has a lower level of difficulty than a lot of the other competitors that placed higher than her and a lot of the competitors that are from her gym. And I think that might be because she is 16 years old, whereas a lot of the other competitors are 18 and older, especially those that place in the top 10. But despite all of this, she has so much potential, and I think she is one day going to be on the Olympic team. I don't think this is going to be the year for her to be on the Olympic team. I think it would be great to see her at the trials, but I think maybe the 2028 Olympics, if she continues training this hard and improves the level of difficulty and whatnot, she will be a solid contender for the Olympic team then. I also wanted to mention Evelyn Lowe really quickly. She finished in 13th place overall and had an overall score of 106.35. When I watched the competition, I just felt like she always did well in her events on the second day. Granted, she didn't have the highest scores, but she really impressed me. I just wanted to bring attention to her. She had a great floor and beam routine. She did not do so great on the bars, but this was mainly due to her lower level of difficulty. I think that if she increased that, she would be super strong in the trials if she is invited. And I definitely see her being one of the gymnasts invited to compete at the trials. I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a lot more of her this year, especially. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we talk about the CrossFit semifinals in the South America and Africa regions. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a very short break. So I will see you guys very soon.